Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview covering VCT America Stage 2. For this occasion, I'm here accompanied once again by eeiu of 100 Thieves. We're coming off of a 2-0 series victory over Sentinels in said playoffs to advance into the semifinals of the upper bracket. So eeiu, really appreciate you taking the time once again for another interview, this time in person. Just want to ask you the obvious question. How are you feeling after defeating Sentinels?
Feeling good. My pre-match tweet was pretty scary. I went to go look at the VLR records, saw that 100 Thieves doesn't really beat Sentinels ever. So going into the game, definitely a little bit of nerves, I would say. The map pool, going into the bans, definitely didn't look that good for 100 Thieves, but man, are we in form for playoffs. It does feel like stage 1 all over again, where we went into the Loud series and hit like a little 2-0, like 13-3, 13-2. The games weren't that similar in the sense of it being like a 13-3, but they felt pretty clean from us. It just felt like it took a second to close it out. So yeah, super confident after the Sentinels win, I have to say. Pretty happy with the way that things went overall. It feels like, everybody's kind of hitting their form. You saw a good map from Cryo, Sean, and Pete. So like me, or Boosty as well, was farming on the first map on Haven, by the way. They were doing like A reclears on him, and he would always get a kill. He would always get us all the info and everything. So yeah, my team's in form. I'm super happy for playoffs. I can't wait to see, where it takes us. See if we can get a little first seed, qualify to champs. That'd be nice.
I was just about to ask about the tweet. Like, your caption was funny. Like, fuck type of rivalry is that? I guess like you were pretty nervous. Like, I believe because I guess you were afraid of the jinx, right? From just making a tweet like that.
Yeah, okay, so I'm never nervous going into any game. I just want to play my game and do everything that I can do when the game comes in. So, no real like nerves going into the game. Just going to do the same thing I do every match. But, definitely seeing all the losses that 100 Thieves had versus Sentinels, I knew I had to make a tweet about it. Everybody was, none of the analysts wanted us to win. None of the players even thought we would win. None of the fans even thought we would win. The entire crowd was cheering for Sentinels. So I remember we were walking on the stage saying, let's make this crowd a library. And I feel like we definitely did a good job at it. I think it sucks for Sentinels. I do think they'll still qualify in through points, personally. I know Boosty said that he thinks Lev is going to bomb out and get the points. I think Lev's in crazy form. I think Sentinels will be fine regardless. I do think it sucks for the way that, stuff is unfolding for their team. People seem to be having like a little bit of issues outside the game, but we're also having issues outside the game. It's like the end of a long season. Me personally, I'm having a lot of issues as well. So, I'm glad we came out on top with the win. I feel bad for them, but yeah, no real nerves. Just had to do a little reverse buffer, make it seem like we weren't going to win the game and made it seem like we weren't too confident going into it. But we were definitely fully confident.
No, for sure. The confidence, like that kind of confidence has been echoing throughout the entire team. I had a conversation with Boosty right before this recording. I even talked to Austin after the team lost to Loud. Just sort of echoing what you're saying about the team's confidence, being very confident ahead of this match, and even despite the loss to Loud. That said, you mentioned a little bit about issues for yourself, going a little bit in depth into that, if it's okay for me to ask. What do you think of some of the biggest issues that kind of affected yourself, in between end of regular season up until now?
Yeah, me personally, so I'm personally dealing with like a lot of burnout, but less so because of like the VCT calendar season and more so because of some stuff I'm dealing with at home. Kind of going through like a little bit of some personal issues at home, and that in combination with the time that I have to spend away from home definitely is like taking a toll on my mental. It's hard to like go into every day of practice and go into all these games with 100% energy. So like as a result, like our scrims are a little bit, less worthwhile. It's harder to keep 100% communication and stuff like that going into every game, especially for the Loud game. I felt pretty devastated in like the way that I felt before I went into the game. It was hard for me to get as much energy as I could, and my comms weren't as good. But I do think with the Sentinels win and the confidence that we have going into this and the stakes for every single match leading up to this, pretty much we're playing a Champions qualification match for our next 2 games regardless. So I do think regardless of the burnout, I'm going to be 100% energy. I'm going to bring everything I have. We're reaching the end of the year, so I got to really pull through.
How have you guys been able to adjust from that Loud series up until now in that short amount of time? Because in my assumption, losing to Loud at the end of the regular season might have pulled in, or might have made things difficult in just kind of transitioning from that to now. But still, to hear you talk about how the team is doing well and how you're kind of handling that kind of transition to the best of your abilities, how has the team been able to move on from end of regular season, that loss, up until now?
Yeah, I think the Loud game was kind of like I talked about it earlier in stage 2 to when we lost to Furia, saying it wasn't really a hiccup. Like our form in general was on a decline, and we in general weren't that good of a team at that time. Same thing with the Lev game. It wasn't really a hiccup. Like we deserved to lose those games. I do think going into the Furia game, or not the Furia game, the Loud game, our form was back, and it still is back. And we even talked about it after as like a team. We went into like the compound and we were talking like, why do we lose to Loud? What do we have to change? We did change things and we did improve on things, but Map 2 and 3, Loud just played fantastic. And it's not like we played bad in the series. The 13-1 on Ascent was like pretty clinical. They didn't really have a chance at all. But it seemed like after the 13-1 on Ascent, I don't know their head coach too much, but it seems like him or like Sadok had like a talk with the team, and they seemed to like really just play loose. I'm not gonna lie. If you watch like the way that like Cowan was playing rounds, Cowan had like 2 or 3 rounds on bind where he just fully disrespected the utility that we threw, and as a result, they stacked the site that we went to and they knew how to play. So yeah, I think Loud played fantastic. At the same time, we didn't bring 100% energy into the Loud game because we knew going into that game, it doesn't really change too much for us going into playoffs. It really, realistically, like we didn't have us versus crew or us versus the loser of G2 Sun. We were confident going into it regardless. So yeah, we didn't put as much effort as we should have, but we didn't lose any confidence from that loss. In fact, I would say the only thing that it did was help us because we changed a few things on a few maps that I'm not going to talk about, but yeah.
For sure. Like that said, now you're in a position where you basically need one win to qualify for champions. I mean, be it if you guys lose tomorrow and then move on from that, bounce back. I mean, how are you guys going to just approach tomorrow and just have the future of the playoffs with that in mind? Do you think that will affect the team in any way?
Feels like stage 1 all over again, to be honest with you. We had a crazy schedule in stage 1 where we had to play like back-to-back every single day. I think we have a little bit of a buff going into tomorrow, considering that G2 hasn't really played yet, so they're a little bit iced out. It's just that, they got to watch our match, they got to ante fully, so yeah, going into the G2 game, we're going to be confident as always. It just kind of sucks, we're like, it's like 10 p.m. right now. We still have to eat. I haven't ate all day. So we're going to have to find out, how we get dinner, how we get home in time to where we're able to sleep and actually, come out on top tomorrow in the game. So yeah, it's definitely a time crunch similar to stage 1. It's not nothing we're not used to, though.
For sure. And that's it. I'm going to wrap it up with one more question. G2, I mean, a team that you guys have been dominating so far this entire year. I believe you guys have been able to beat them. Might be 4 occasions. I might be wrong on that. But
3,
still,
yeah.
There's 3.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Crazy.
Still crazy. But still, like, G2 has been seeing it as a team on the come up, surging at the right time, peaking at the right time. Just sort of, what are your impressions on G2 in its current form, and whether it will worry you guys?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you see in a difference for G2 currently is they kind of really put iceeiu as this. He's definitely playing a lot better now. I would say their system has changed a little bit from the last time we saw them to now, to where iceeiu's able to not only pull his own weight, but really pull the entire team through into match wins. So I'd say the biggest difference between old G2 and current G2 is that iceeiu's really popping off now. So I would say we're confident regardless going into the G2 game. I do think they have the benefit of Anti. I think their team is in crazy form considering how iceeiu's been playing recently. So, we're going to do our best to win. Win or loss, I've been saying it, we focus on the process, not the results. So we'll play the Valorant that we're proud of. And if it nets us with a win and a Champions qual, then I'll see you guys in Korea. And if not, we'll run it back in the lower brackets. So.
Well said, eeiu. Thank you so much for taking the time doing this interview once again. Thank you so much for answering all my questions. And, of course, best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pedro.